All right, final topic, my Malkin's moments. I have a couple great Malkin's moments for you. I have to start with the aforementioned Christian McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey, he rushed in a touchdown. He threw a touchdown on a trick pass play, and he received a touchdown. So this all happened without Deebo Samuel yesterday, and the 49ers' 31-14 win on the road against their rival, the LA Rams. So McCaffrey is the first player in the NFL since LaDainian Tomlinson in 2005 to have a rushing, receiving, and passing touchdown in a game. Again, I talked about how dangerous this 49ers team is, not only with the addition of Christian McCaffrey, but again, the defense is getting healthier. Trent Williams is back. Nick Bosa has returned. Eric Armstead, he is going to be returning very soon. And now you add Christian McCaffrey in just his second game with the 49ers in this new system. 18 carries, 94 yards, and a touchdown. Threw one touchdown. Had 8 receptions for 55 yards and a touchdown. So he led the team in rushes and rushing yards, obviously. He led the team in receiving receptions, in receiving targets, en route to collecting a touchdown. I mean, the guy is just sensational. While I'm not a 49ers fan because I'm a Rams fan, it pains me to see Christian McCaffrey with the 49ers, but as a fan of Christian McCaffrey's, I'm happy that he's in a winning situation. I'm happy for him that he can kind of return to his former stomping grounds right by Stanford, where he went to college. And that, again, he's on a team competing for a title because he's a great guy. He is an incredible football player, a really bright and intelligent football player as well. Just speaks very articulate, speaks very eloquently, and I love watching him play. So I'm happy to see him in a winning situation. And man, is he having an impact already. Again, just creating history in just his second game with the 49ers. That's special. That's special. Speaking of creating history from the running back position, Derrick Henry tied O.J. Simpson and Adrian Peterson for the most 20-yard rushing games in NFL history. He had 32 carries, 219 rushing yards, 2 touchdowns. It was the sixth 200-yard rushing game, which is what ties O.J. Simpson and Adrian Peterson. And again, this came in the Titans' 17-10 win over the Houston Texans yesterday. And all of a sudden, again, this always seems to happen. It seems to be deja vu with the Titans. You look up at the standings, and the Titans are 5-2. Mike Vrabel is perhaps, I think, the most underrated coach in the NFL. He continues to mesmerize just with his ability to extract the most out of this team. And obviously they've been doing this for several years, but they continue to just double and triple down into Derrick Henry, which is what you're supposed to do. It was Henry's also 4th consecutive 200-yard rushing game against specifically the Houston Texans, which sets a record for the most such games against a single team in NFL history. So 4 of his 6 200 rushing yard games have come at the expense of the Houston Texans. So if you're a fantasy football player, anytime you see Derrick Henry and Houston Texans on the schedule, playing is the bottom line. His second score of the day, by the way, gave him 75 touchdowns for his career, which broke a tie with Eddie George for the most touchdowns scored in Titans/Oilers franchise history. He reached that mark in 93 games. George did so in 128. So he broke that record in 35 fewer games than Eddie George did. He's now posted 4 consecutive 100 rushing games this season. He leads the NFL in carries, leads them in rushing yards, and he's tied for the most rushing touchdowns with 6 over that time span. So shout out to Derrick Henry. He's been an absolute train wreck to try and deal with in a great way for the Tennessee Titans, leading them to that 5-2 record. Couple other Malkin's moments. Shout out to Sidney Crosby, who tied Adam Oates for 18th overall a couple of days ago on the NHL's all-time points list with over 1,420 points. Sidney Crosby, if you are an NHL fan from the Pittsburgh Penguins, this guy is sensational. I think he is kind of like the modern-day Wayne Gretzky. I think that Sidney Crosby is absolutely sensational when you think about the best players in the NHL in this generation, but especially in this past decade. I think Sidney Crosby is one of those guys. Obviously, Ovechkin's been great, but the level of consistency that we've seen from Sidney Crosby, the way that he elevates his team, it's just amazing watching him continue to do what he's doing. And speaking of watching amazing athletes continue to do what they're doing, shout out to LeBron James, who broke another offensive record last week. He officially has the most 20-point games in NBA history with 1,136. He actually passed it with 1,135 against the Nuggets on the road a couple days ago. But now that they returned home and they collected their first win of the season, shout out to the Lake Show, notching their first victory of the 2022 season. LeBron breaking another offensive record. He posted an Instagram post, being taken for granted. We cannot take him for granted at all. Continues to be amazing. Shout out to him. Finally, shout out to Tyreese Maxey, the guard of the Philadelphia 76ers, who dropped a career-high 44 points on the road at the Toronto Raptors a couple of days ago, 112-90. They were playing without Joel Embiid, and Tyreese Maxey goes off. 44 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists. He became the third player in NBA history. This is the fantastic part. He became the third player in NBA history to record 40 points and 9 3-pointers in a game while shooting 75% from the floor and 75+% from the 3-point line. Yes, so his shooting percentage was through the roof, over 75%. Kyrie Irving did it just last March 8th, actually. I think that was against the Orlando Magic. He had 50 points, 9 3-pointers on 79% shooting from the floor, 75% from 3. We saw Klay Thompson do it in 2019. He had 44 points on 10 3-pointers, 85% from the floor, 91% from the 3-point line. And I applauded Klay Thompson speaking his mind after Charles Barkley and other prominent NBA analysts were kind of down on Klay Thompson, questioning him. I appreciate him backing himself. But shout out to Tyreese Maxey. Absolutely sensational performance. And he's going to have to be that third star for the 76ers to achieve what they want to achieve, which is an NBA title. Because Harden's playing better. Embiid still continues to do Embiid things. But if Maxey takes that next step, which it looks like he's continuing to do, 76ers are going to be a problem. That's all the time that I got for today. Thank you so much for joining me right here on Morning Joe every single Monday and Wednesday morning, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 to 11 Central, and 8 to 9 a.m. Pacific. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube page, Morning Joe, J-O, with Jonah Malkin on YouTube. Follow me on Twitter at Jonah Malkin or at morning_Joe_JMalk97 on Instagram and Jonah Malkin on TikTok. Thanks so much. And as always, have a lovely rest of your morning.